Roll call. What's going on, man? You know how this works. Grab your practice pad. What up, Debbie Deb? John wants me to play a Rush song on the pad. Hang on one sec. Let me think of one. Bang the drum. Happy Friday. Sharon Jaffis, what's going on? Just finished practicing. We'll start up again. We got a whole hour here. Ted Richardson, what's up? From Maine, USA, what's going on? Jump links. Let me go ahead and get on back here. John Baptiste, what's cracking? From Vancouver, what's going on, man? Mr. Monroe, yo. Chris, nope, sorry, that's not Chris, that's Chad. Chad Schneider, what's happening? Let me get back down there, see what's going on. Who's from Turkey? Evren Abbott? Sorry, man. Didn't mean to mess your name up. Shout out to Turkey. Bradley, honored to have you here, my man. Hold up. Hold up. Look at all these people filing in. Let's try this. Ah, that does work. That's pretty cool. Man, look at all this. Steve-O, what's happening? Thanks for the super chat, man. Do I play any other instruments or am I a one-woman guy? First of all, yes and yes. What other instruments do I play? Well, I started out as a keyboardist many years ago. And I, of course, still play. If you've heard my 2 solo albums or play along albums, that's all me. Did it all up in my upstairs office. So yeah, I dabble with that, and then I'm messing around with bass a little bit, but I'm not awesome. But yeah, I just mess around with them. Look at all these people, man. New Zealand. Man. Keith Egbert from Kentucky, what's going on? Chris Martin from Tucson. Christopher Erickson. You know what? Let me go ahead and, there you go. I'm going to hit that up because it's a nice one. Thanks, man. You'll have to forgive the pauses. This is a one-man operation. Handling my business over here. So until I get an assistant, I'm going to have to get off this pad to hit a couple of buttons. But I'm sure you don't care. John Pirate. Sorry, man. I'm gonna just call you John H. Worldwide, yes indeed. Look at Pam from my buddy from Whitby. Hey, Pam. What's going on? Brooke Hornback. I recognize you. You're a regular. Thanks for showing up. You're in Kentucky. Shout out to Kentucky. Hey, what's the weather like where you guys are at right now? Here it's cold and it's raining, which is weird because yesterday I was out in the garden and it was awesome. Doing a bunch of work out there. It was nice and warm. Today it's like winter came back for like 15 minutes. It's crazy. Man, this is nuts. India? Who's from India? Aryan Drums from India. What's going on? Sean Baker from Vermont. What up? Mike Withrow, hot and muggy. Where you at? Larry Stratton from Seattle. You're welcome, man. Ah. Tom is out in Florida. Nobody feels bad for you, man. Hogging all that sweet weather. Aryan is asking me to play Mash Grip for a while. You might be feeling left out. Fine. I still got it, by the way. Don't get that twisted. Nova Scotia. His name is just F. Or it could be a her. But shout out to Nova Scotia. Wayanoid, drummer from Indonesia. Holy, man. What is up with Indonesia? Dale from Brooklyn says it's a little chilly. You got the same weather we got. Just reading the comments, man. Matt Harasan, did I say that right? Samuel, want to ask you a question. You learn drums by yourself. Why teaching others? I did learn on my own. Never took a lesson, but, and I say this all the time, I spent a whole lot of money on instructional material. Bought a lot of videos, man. Tons. I got a whole collection of instructional videos upstairs. And yeah, I don't know. One day I just discovered I had a knack for teaching. This was like way back in my 20s. And I just kind of stuck with it. I didn't know it was going to be my profession. But yeah, that's it. I mean, I can't take none of this with me, right? So my whole idea is, to whom much is given, much is required. Remember that. I didn't ask for none of this. So I feel an obligation to share it. And that's why I'm here talking to all you people from all over the place. Cesar Moraes from Brazil. I can't say nobody's name today, man. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I'm tired. Crazy. Satvik. I'm not even gonna attempt that last name. But Satvik, I see your question. How long have I been playing drums? I've been playing since I was 17. So 3 years. No, honestly, it's I've been playing probably over 30 years now, so that's a long time. Fifth Corner Records. Are palm calluses normal, or does that mean I'm doing something wrong? That's a good question. That's a real good question. I used to get palm calluses. And yeah, I think this is like way back in the day when I was first starting to play. I used to have all kinds of hand issues and stuff when I was younger, just from doing stuff wrong. All I can tell you is that, I mean, if you have a loose enough grip, then you won't deal so much with the calluses. I used to get them, it's weird, like I used to get them right along there. And, you know, when I loosened up my grip so that, you know, nothing was really sort of touching the palm, which it really shouldn't be. Like if you're holding the stick right, you should be able to see a nice little gap there with the fingers kind of doing most of the work. If you're clutching the stick too tight, all that friction is going to cause calluses right in there. So you just got to loosen up your grip, man. It's probably just a little bit too tight. Like that. You know what I'm saying? Who else is here? Who else is here? Hold on, man. Man. These things are just flying by. BK wants to know if I have any Polish fans. I think so. If there's any in the chat, shout up. Let me see you. Tom, how long do you use your sticks until you have to buy a new pair? Listen, I don't want to say this to flex, all right? But I am fortunate enough. Let me start with this. When I was first starting out to play, I was in my my early teens. I remember having to use one pair of sticks for months at a time until it was shredded right down to nothing, because I couldn't really afford a whole bunch of sticks back then. Even then, they were a little expensive back then, right? So I wasn't always out buying sticks. I would use one pair until it was completely destroyed. So I played it basically until it cracked. These days, if I look at my stick and I don't like the way it looks, I just toss it and grab another one. I'm just blessed. I don't know what to tell you. I got a lot of sticks. So, yeah, like I normally shred my sticks right around here. Like right around the middle of where the whole rim shot thing happens. So once that gets all chewed up and there's a bunch of fraying and stuff, I just get rid of it and grab another pair. Hold on, let me go on back here and catch this question. Aritra, is that your name? Sengupta? I think that's your name. Can you show some shuffles? That's hard to say. Can you show some shuffles on the practice pad? Sure, of course I can. Well, first of all, I don't know if you can see what's happening there. But this is what I'm doing. This is just sort of a regular kind of shuffle kind of pattern. And what I'm doing is this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm basically just bringing up the butt end of the stick to get that second note happening. So it's a bounce and then it's a catch like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, like that, right? And you know what? This is basically the beginning of almost every shuffle that you can play. Whether you're playing it on the hi-hats or you're playing it on the ride, that's the movement. If you just kind of focus on going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, with the butt end. 1, 2, 3, like that. Or you can do that kind of thing. But that's just it, man. There's really nothing too crazy or magical about it. As long as you learn that movement, you can play any shuffle you want. You know, you can go slow or, you know, fast. But the movement is the same. So there you go. Hold on, let me catch up. Joey Bastone's got a good question. What should a drummer do when he's been playing for 20 years and has lost inspiration? You got to find it somewhere else. That's the simple answer. You got to find it somewhere else. Usually that happens by a surefire way to fix that is to get into other styles of music. That's really it. The reason why you've lost inspiration is because you're bored. You don't feel challenged. So if you're not into jazz, get into jazz. If you're not into metal, get into metal. If you're not into Latin music, get into Latin. There's inspiration out there everywhere, man. Like you just got to find it. And, you know, I'm not trying to say that I've never experienced that, because I totally have. Like I've gotten bored and I've hit plateaus and all that kind of stuff during my whole journey. But I promise you, man, if you get into other styles of music, you're gonna find a whole other. It's like you walk into this big room, and for 20 years you've been walking in the front doors and going into the same room every day, where there's like 50 other doors in this warehouse that you haven't even touched yet. So what you need to do is pass that door that you've been walking through this whole time. Walk to the back of the warehouse and check out what's going on in some of those other rooms. I guarantee you, you're going to find something in there that you're going to dig. You're going to gravitate to it. You're going to hear new grooves. You're going to hear new fills. You're going to check out new drummers. And then you're going to rush home, jump on your kit, and try out what you just heard. So trust me on that. That's the truth. Hold on, man. I saw a good question here. Let me just, while I'm looking for it, let me answer this one. Dwayne wants to know, do you think it's too late to learn a musical instrument? No. Listen, I get emails. This is no joke. I get emails from cats in their 70s and 80s telling me that they're just picking up the drums. Keep that in mind. I don't know how old you are, but if you're in your 40s, if you're in your 30s, it's a crazy question. Of course not. It's never, ever too late to learn anything, for that matter. Um, hold on. Sorry, y'all. Pietro, what's going on? Thanks for the super chat, man. Love you teaching. Thanks for watching. Actually, you know what? Where you at? Hold up. Can I find you? There you go. Shout out to Pietro. Thanks a lot, man. Christian's got a good question. Let me find it. Christian is asking, what are the important things to keep in mind when auditioning for a band? I feel I have a good shot at getting a gig as a drummer for a full-time metal band, and I really want this. That's a good question. Listen, nothing impresses people more than preparation. You can write that down if you need to, but that's the truth. If you want a really good shot at this audition, make sure you show up super prepared. If they gave you material to learn ahead of time, learn it front to back, back to front, slow and fast. And just go there and nail it. Whether you have to play along to the track or, you know, if it's the type of audition where you actually play with the band while they're in there. Be confident. If you have to, if it's your job to count the tune off, count it off. If you have to run a track or whatever, just make sure you're 100% prepared. That's really the only thing you can do. You can't give them cake. You can't offer them money. The only thing you can do is show them that you're the type of person that will always show up prepared. So that's my best advice to you, man. Take whatever tunes they gave you to learn and just live with them. Day and night, breakfast, lunch, and dinner until rehearsal day. Go there confident. Say what's up to the boys. When they ask you if you're ready to go, just say yep and just nail it. Yeah. Diego Hernandez. Let me pop this question up so y'all can see it. Hold on. Diego Hernandez. Let me find you. Let me find you. There it is. Diego Hernandez wants to know, how can I be able to develop my musical ear to learn any time signatures and to be able to play the drums? Well, first of all, you got to put that last thing first. Make sure you're able to play the drums before you do anything else. And don't worry so much about time signatures, at least not right off the bat. Because, I mean, unless you're joining a Dream Theater cover band, there's not a whole lot of odd time signatures that you're going to have to deal with, aside from, you know, 3/4, maybe 5/8. But, whoa. Sorry, just got a little distracted there. I'm going to get back to F in a second. Thanks for that super chat. That's, whoo, it's a good one. As far as developing your musical ear, that just comes with listening to a ton of music. And, you know, eventually you start to you start to hear music differently. At least it was. That was the case for me. Like, you know, when most people listen to music, at least most non-musicians, they listen to the whole thing as one piece. Whereas when I listen to music now, I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing, and a lot of you might be the same way as me, but when I listen to music now, I can hear each individual instrument. Sometimes that's bad because I'm sort of, you know, in a sense, just kind of overanalyzing everything, right? It's not always good. Sometimes you just want to throw a tune on and enjoy it. But me, like I can hear what the bass is doing. I'm hearing what the keys is doing. I'm hearing what the drums are doing. That's just an important thing. Like when you're a session drummer and it's your job to learn music, basically for a living, you got to be able to do that. You got to be able to pick out the drums, figure out what the grooves are, you know, because you want to be accurate with the stuff. But, you know, developing your ear, man, that just came from listening to music every single day. I don't know if there's a day that's gone by my entire life that I haven't listened to music. So, yeah, that's the one thing. And as far as the time signatures go, again, like don't worry so much about doing that. But as far as the time signatures go, that's just all counting. That's all that is. If you can count to 4, then you can count to 5, hopefully. But the only difference between 4/4 and 5/4 is 1 quarter note, right? So I mean, if you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, then you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I mean, it's just all counting. But you know, don't get too caught up in the whole 13, 16, and 19, whatever. I do have videos on my channel if you need help. There's a video on my channel, Odd Time for Beginners. Check that out. That should be able to help you out. Sharon Jaffis, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. Yeah, let me get back to F. That's very generous of you. Thank you very much for that. That's good stuff. Hold on. Okay, there's 2 questions that I want to get to. I just got to find them. Actually, there's 3. I just saw another one. Whew! Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. I kept calling you F because that's the letter in your avatar. Fresh Boy 8745. Fresh Boy 8745. There you are. Thanks for the lessons and inspiration. You're very welcome, man. Thanks for tuning in. Now, where is that question? Callie, I want to get to this one. That's a pretty good question. I'm going to say Settergren, Callie Settergren, wants to know, he's got a question about, or maybe it's a she, but they have a question about Flam taps. Said it feels I got something wrong with my mental abilities at this point. No matter how much I practiced Flam taps, I'm not improving and it feels a bit unnatural. Flam taps. Flams are pretty easy. I'm not saying that to diminish your question at all. Maybe you're just kind of overthinking it. But if you really want to start to develop your flams, the easiest way to do it, because all a flam is just it's one note. To put it in layman's terms, it's one note hidden just like a split second before an accent stroke. So if I'm playing like this, right now, they're both hitting at the same time. If I wanted to flam this, all I got to do is slow one hand down. That's all it is. You're just kind of overthinking it. Don't worry about it. There's nothing super special. There's no fancy technique for playing flams. All you're really doing is hitting one note a split second before the accent. Now, and if you want to get crazy into the drum corps stuff where they're doing all kinds of alternating flams and all that kind of stuff, that takes a bit of work, because when you're playing flams where you're doing that kind of thing, that can take a bunch of time to develop. But flam taps, man, just don't overthink it. That whole mental thing that you're going through, you're putting yourself through that. You don't need to. Just remember that if you want to start with, both sticks doing that so they sound like one, all you're going to do is just kind of separate them so they start to sound like two. Just like that. One way to really get into that, look at your stick height. Because right now, if you can tell, because my technique is so daggone perfect, both of these sticks are hitting at exactly the same time. Because my stick heights are exactly the same. Now, if I take this stick and make this stick height lower than this one, guess what happens? Right? This stick is going to hit the surface before this one does, and guess what? You're flamming. Right? So, same height. Drop this one. Flam. Boom. There you go. Free tip. Unless you want to leave a tip, then it'll cost you. Yeet Feet wants to know if I've heard of the band Tool. Of course. Of course, man. Danny Carey's a beast. I think I still have the Enema album somewhere. Hang on. Wow, George Phillips. You know what? Let me find. All of these are just like flying by, man. Forgive me, y'all. I'm a one-man operation. Trying to keep up with all this love. It's a good problem to have, though. But I'm trying to find, I got to catch this from George Phillips. Shout out to George Phillips. Thanks for the super chat. Very generous of you. Thanks a lot. Let me find you. Born Winner 55, I see you too. Shout out to Born Winner. Don't worry, George, I'm going to find you, man. Just hang on. But I am very grateful for your super chat. Very cool, man. Very cool. Don't mind the awkward silence. Just sing something to yourself while you're waiting. George, man, I can't find you on here. But when I do, I'll be sure to highlight you. I'll find you, my man. I will find you. Anyways, hey, look. There you are. Everybody give a shout out to George Phillips. Let me go on. Somebody had a question about church, playing in church. And I want to answer it. So let me go back. Let me go back and find this joint. Matt Harrison Samuel, thanks a lot for the super chat, my man. Hold up, I'm coming. I'm getting close to it. Is that the Evans Real Feel pad? Yes, it is. It's just a red one. Yeah, this is the Barney Beats pad. Make sure you cop that. Joe Anderson, thanks for the super chat. There's some funny questions on there. Rodriguez Zelfeliz, did I say that right? Any advice on how I can fire the drummer in my band without being murdered with a drumstick? Yeah, do it over the phone. Do it over the phone and then change your number. You'll be fine. Mackay. Simple question about playing in church. Mackay Grooves wants to know, how can I be a better church drummer? I always wanted advice. It's kind of an open question. But the first thing you need to do is realize that playing in church is nothing like performing on stage or in a club or any of that stuff. Playing in church, you're playing for an entirely different reason. That sounds very obvious, but it's a really important point, and you'd be surprised at how many church drummers don't think about that. They get up there on the platform and they think it's a show, right? They wait for their time to shine, and then they start blowing all these chops in front of the congregation. Listen, depending on the type of church that you go to, you know, if you go into one of those urban churches, a lot of that black gospel stuff, I guess the chops are necessary and they're accepted. It's just, I mean, that's where the whole gospel chops thing came from, right? All that stuff started in church. So there is a time and a place for it. But if you're in, you know, Pentecostal church, some kind of modern contemporary type of thing, there's just no room for it. There's no room for performing. You got to get that out of your head. If you think playing in church is like playing on stage, you're dead wrong about that, all right? So that's the first thing, and it might actually be the only thing that you need to really keep in mind. Everything else applies. You still got to practice, right? You still got to keep your technique up. But, you know, the sooner you realize why you're there, you'll adjust to how you need to play. One other thing that you need to keep in mind is that when you're playing in church, you have a worship leader, and you got to submit to your worship leader. That's it. While you're up there, you got to keep your eye on whoever that is. Just be able to follow direction, and you'll be fine. Fun fact, you know, back in the 90s, it's probably when it really started. But back in the 90s, man, when all of these R&B acts started hiring church musicians, there was a reason. And personally, I think the reason is because there's an entirely different level of discipline that church drummers have that other drummers just don't, right? When we're playing in church, and if you want to back me up, if somebody in the comments wants to back me up on this, feel free. But you know, there's a whole different discipline, but not just drummers, like church musicians in general. But you know, a lot of these church drummers and church musicians started getting hired by these R&B acts just because, you know, the level of discipline, the level of chops that were displayed. There's a whole different sound that goes on there. So yeah, I can go on about that. I'll just kind of stop there. But thanks for the question. 3:42. Man, this is flying by. Give me a sec, y'all. I'm just catching up. LA Studio 8 wants to know, what's your Desert Island set of hi-hats? I got them. 15-inch, Peisty, Dark Energy hats. Those are the greatest hats you'll ever hear in your entire life. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what other company you want to put these hats up against. They're not going to stand a chance. 15, you can look them up. Go online and look them up. 15-inch Peisty signature Dark Energy hats. Greatest hats you'll ever hear in your whole life. Dwayne wants to know, who am I? Dwayne, let me say your last name. Dwayne Willadika. If I got that right, man, you need to leave me a tip, because I took a shot at that. If I got it the first time, you need to leave me a tip. Who are my musical influences for drummers? I have quite a bit. My laundry list of influential drummers is just freaking massive. Starts with Stuart Copeland. He was my first hero. Let me let you in on some of my favorite drummers of all time. Started with Stuart Copeland. Phil Gould from Level 42, huge influence. Mark Brzezicki from Big Country, massive. Will Calhoun from Living Color. Was a massive Living Color fan. I used to play to those records all the time. Will Calhoun, monster, genius. Carter Beauford, Dave Matthews Band, was heavy in the Dave Matthews Band. Still a giant fan of Carter's. Jazz drummers, right? All the usual suspects. Dave, Vinny, Steve Gadd, Steve Smith, Peter Erskine, Will Kennedy. Geez. Dennis Chambers. Man, there's a lot. There's a lot of them. So, did I say Vinny? Because I'm gonna throw his name in there like 10 more times. I'll stop there because there's a lot of them. Paul Hill, what's your take on the Mars Volta drummer? If you're talking about, oh my gosh, Thomas. If you're talking about Thomas Pridgeon, that dude is a Sasquatch on the drums. Love him. Guy's a genius. He's got a really cool video out, actually. He did an interview with GQ magazine talking about the movie It's that drummer movie that all the drummers hate. Somebody help me out. I know somebody in the comments knows. That stupid friggin' movie with the drummer and the teacher. Yeah. Actually, I just lost my train of thought. I forgot your question because I can't stand this movie so much. Thomas Pridgeon, yeah, that's what we're talking about. He's got a video out talking to GQ magazine about this movie, just pointing out, you know, some of the scenes and stuff. Whiplash, good Lord. Don't get me started on that stupid friggin' movie. Don't tell anybody I said that. Catching up. Sheba wants to know, are you releasing interactive workout videos anytime soon? You know what? I've kept that in mind because the response to my 20-minute doubles workout video, comments are still coming in. That's still a super popular video. If you haven't seen it, check it out and try it for yourself. But yeah, I'm thinking about it. Who knows? Who knows? Hang on, man. Look at all these people chiming in with the whiplash. It finally came to me. I knew it. It was whiplash. I'm assuming y'all hate it too. Because that was just freaking ridiculous. Hang on. Yeah. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me catch this one here. Ed Groggs wants to know if I ever played a 22-inch Zildjian deep ping ride. I had a 20-inch ping ride several years ago before I stumbled on the Peisty. And I actually liked it. It was a really good sounding ride. It was a brilliant finish. And I use it a lot. Never played the 22, and I didn't know there was a deep ping ride, so I can only assume it's a little bit heavier with a louder bell, but it probably sounds great. Nick Petavilla wants to know, do you think 14 by 6.5 snare is generally the way to go? I think it's always the way to go. If you're only going to have one snare, 14 6.5, best size for you. That's going to be the best all-around workhorse snare size that you can put in any situation. The thing I love about 6.5 is that you can tune it right down to like a 5-inch shell or even a 4-inch shell, like if you crank it up tight enough. Or, you know, you can make it nice and fat and deep because you got the depth there, right? You got the 6.5 there. You can tune it nice and low and get something super fat out of it. For my opinion, man, it's the most versatile size of snare drums, 14 6.5. Justin Bloss. Any advice for getting a good rock sound out of an 18-inch kick? Put a trigger on it. That's a small kick drum for a rock sound, man. I mean, you can tune it as low as you possibly can. That's probably my, if that's the only kick drum you got, my advice would be tune that sucker as low as you can. And as far as the type of head on it, I might go, because it's such a small shell for a bass drum anyway, you might want to go with a thin head. Go with a thinner head, put a patch on it. You're going to get a little bit more projection with a thin head. So just go with a single ply skin on there. Shout out to Brooke Hornback. Thanks for the super chat. Yeah, put a thin head on that sucker and tune it really low. And also, don't put too much stuff in it. Like if you're gonna muffle it, try to rely more on, start with muffling on the actual head itself. So you can get a single ply head with some sort of, muffle ring on it. Start with that, like an Evans EQ or like an EMAT or something. Don't put too much stuff inside the shell with an 18 because you're just going to choke it out and it's going to sound like nothing. So Jeshua Montalongo, what are the best drum heads ideal for church? It depends on the church. Depends on the size of the room and the acoustics and all of that stuff. If you're locked in a cage, then you can put whatever you want on it. You can go 1 ply, 2 ply, whatever. If it's a small room and it's a fairly lively type of room, I might suggest staying away from single ply heads. Go with something a little bit thicker, something with some muffling on it. Because you want to start with choosing a head that's not going to project or ring out as long as a single ply head would. So if it's a small room and the kid is generally going to be unmiked, you could, if you really want to, you can go as thick as hydraulics. Go like an Evans Onyx or like a hydraulic or something. Something's going to be a little more on the dead side. It's not going to sustain too long. If you're talking about a big church, sky's the limit. You can really put whatever you want on it. If it's a matter of putting heads on a drum kit that's going to be played by a bunch of different drummers, then durability is going to be a factor. So definitely go with something 2 ply. Something that's going to sort of, keep up with all the smashing and bashing that's going on in there, because church drummers, man, I don't know what it is about them, but they like to hit hard. So just choose a nice durable head that's going to sound really good. Katrina Phillips wants to know what sticks are better for you or better to use. The thing about drumsticks is that they're like shoes. Like you literally have to try some on to find the one that you like. You just want to use sticks that you don't have to fight. I actually use 2 pairs, 2 different sizes. I got 5As and I got 5Bs, and it really depends on the situation. Sometimes I need a lighter stick, depending on the room that I'm in, the size of the kit that I'm playing, the genre that I'm playing. There's no one size fits all drumstick. If you got that in your head, get it out of your head. Sticks are kind of like tools in a toolbox, right? You're not gonna, if you sort of talk to a carpenter, you open up their toolbox, you're not gonna find 15 hammers, right? You're gonna find a whole bunch of different types of tools depending on the job. Sticks, for me, same thing. Sometimes you need a 5B. Sometimes, you might want a 5A. Sometimes you might want to go as small as a 7A. Just depends. Depends on the situation. So you can have a favorite stick if you want, but I wouldn't suggest sticking to just one, no pun intended, sticking to just one stick, because you really want to get comfortable playing all different types of sizes and keep them handy. Just keep a few different sizes of sticks in your stick bag. 1 pair will probably do the job for most situations, but there might come a time where you're going to need something super light for whatever reason. And you're going to be glad that you had them in there. Rhoda Monroe has a weird question. How do you actually look like a drummer while playing? I hope you're joking. The easy answer to that is as long as you're sitting around a set of drums, you're going to look like a drummer. Leonardo Carbone, thanks for that comment, man. Saw my little performance of Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic that I did on Drumeo. If you haven't seen that, make sure you check that out. That's a song that I've played a billion times during my lifetime, so that was really easy. We did a few takes just for camera angles, but yeah, that was just, it just felt like I was practicing, you know, back in the day. It was really cool. Man, so many questions. I do not do these enough, and there's only like 3 minutes left. It's crazy. Maximus L. Dude. He's out in Moscow. Moscow, Russia. What time is it in Moscow right now? I don't even know. Anyway, yeah, he wants to know. I often catch myself getting behind the kit, playing the same thing all the time. How do I get away from that? I wish I had a magical answer, but I kind of don't. That kind of thing comes with time. The reason why you keep playing the same thing over and over again is because your vocabulary right now is very limited, right? It's like trying to have a conversation with a 3-year-old. They might only know like 10 sentences. That's all you're going to get out of them. And even some of those you're not going to be able to figure out. The longer you play, you know, the more sort of, the bigger your vocabulary is going to grow. You're going to add more stuff to it. You're going to be able to say a lot more things without repeating yourself too many times. But with a limited vocabulary, it's only so much you can do, right? So that's why you feel limited, because you just don't have the vocabulary yet. The Wolf 92, how often do you switch between traditional and the match? This might be the elephant in the room for some of y'all, because you might remember the video where I talked about switching back to match grip, saying that, you know, I accomplished what I wanted to with traditional, blah, blah, blah. And at the time, it was true. I'm not sorry for that video, because at the time, it was true. I ended up taking a long break from traditional. And guess what happened? During that break, it got way better. Way, way better. It turns out it was the break that I needed from that grip. So these days, I'm about 90% traditional. I just love how it feels. I love how it feels. Especially after playing for this long. I feel like a different drummer with traditional grip, and I'm always learning new things about it. I'm always kind of improving. So I don't think I'm going to get tired of this anytime soon. So how often do I switch? It depends. Sometimes I need to go match for whatever reason. Like if I'm trying to, you know, play anything specific to the genre that I'm playing, this makes more sense in some situations. But for the most part, sorry to flip you off like that. For the most part, I'm full-time traditional now, and I'm digging it. And I'll stay that way until I decide to switch again. But, hold on, man. Hold on. Let me catch this super chat. Who is this? I cannot leave until I shout this person out. Havoc 37. Thanks very much for the super chat, my man. Very generous of you. It says, we haven't met, but you're my drum teacher. I love your videos, love your presentation, your drumming, and my voice. Shout out from Oklahoma. Shout out Havoc 37. Thanks for the super chat, man. Very much appreciated. One last question. Eve Berger wants to know, what age did I start playing? 17. 17 is when I got my very first drum kit. And I have not stopped since. And on that note, whew, wish I could stay longer. Thanks to everyone that showed up for the hang. It was always a lot of fun. Yeah, as you can see, I've been on the pad the entire time. That's nothing for me. I can stay on the practice pad all day. I just like moving the hands. I just love moving the sticks around. Anyways, I don't know why I brought that up. Shout out to everyone that showed up. Thanks for everyone that left a super chat. Man, it was a great hang. Just going back through a lot of these. I'll be able to read all of these after this. There's just a lot to go through. But yeah, man, this was cool. I try to do this last Friday of every month. So hopefully you guys will come back. And the next month, last Friday in June, we'll be back here. We'll hang for an hour. Friday, 3 to 4 o'clock EST, Eastern Standard Time, for y'all that don't know what that means. And man, that's all I got to say. Thanks for showing up. Make sure you check out the videos on the channel. I got a whole bunch of them on there. Summer is generally kind of slow for YouTubers. It's kind of a slow time of year, so it really helps if you check out the rest of our catalog. So make sure you catch all those videos, share them on the gram, share them Facebook, wherever you want to do. And that's it. I'm out. Gonna go grab me something to eat, and then probably jump on the kit, do a little bit of practicing. Shout out to y'all. Thanks for watching, and we'll see y'all again. Peace.